Okay, so today I'm looking at putting the gland in place for the solar cables. So installing this, well, I guess somewhere around there. Okay. It's important I have these cables taped up because there is current flowing through them. So as you can see, there's a bit of a problem here in that this is too wide to sit on the ProMaster rib, I guess you would call it, and it sticks out over the edges. I have the option of using two singles. These singles would fit perfectly. I could have one on each rib or one in front of the other. I could have them like this. You know, I could have them like that. That's neat and tidy. So I have the option of using those two singles, or maybe I can warm up the edges here and fold these down. Like maybe I can have them molded to the edge of the ProMaster rib. So that's why I brought my heat gun out, and I'm going to try that. I'll put some gloves on first. We'll try to see if I can bend those. See if that works. So. It's getting soft. I think that might actually work. Yeah, I think that's going to work. Nice. It's actually worked out really well. I'm going to do a little bit more up here. Well, okay. It feels pretty snug and pretty tight. And you know, once I'm going to use some butyl sealant around here and some screws. Or I could use VHB tape, but I think I'll use butyl sealant and screw, well, front and back, and maybe on the sides some small self-tapping sheet metal screws, and then of course I'll put that Dicor lap sealant on it, caulking, and that's going to work out great. That's nice and tidy. I'll have my solar cables will come around like this, so that'll be neat and tidy. There won't be all kinds of cable flopping around, and that'll work out great. Okay. I just have to cut the hole underneath here now. Okay, so before I start drilling and cutting into the roof, you know, this would be a perfect spot for it right there, but there are ribs underneath here. So this time I'm thinking, and I'm going to measure it out so I don't try to run this thing through, you know, the space of one of those ribs. Good thinking, Johnny boy. That's to the back of one of those tail lights, so I can go up to well, let's say 31.5. I put a piece of plywood down here so I wouldn't dent the roof because it felt kind of sketchy. So 32 from there. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so I'm gonna go 31.5 though. Okay, so that's the front. Alrighty, so the hole can go pretty much anywhere, but I would say it should be up here somewhere. So, I mean, well, this should be the front of the hole. That'll be the back. Okay, so drill there. Fingers crossed I don't screw this up. Okay, I have my little skinny starter drill bit. I have my hole saw, which is a, what size is this? 1.5 inch hole saw, and I have a rubber grommet. And I drilled a hole in this piece of plywood, sort of a tester, to confirm that the grommet actually fits in there perfectly. So I have those things, and I should get some spray paint for Rust-Oleum spray paint. Oh, and once I get my little pilot hole drilled up there, I'm going to tape this cardboard box to the underside to catch any metal filings that drop down, because, well, there seems to be a big concern that metal filings in a van create rust, that it's a real issue. I can't picture it myself, but what do I know? It seems to be a concern. So I'm going to tape that box up to the ceiling on the underside to catch any filings. Okay, here we go. There's my pilot hole. I'm going to go down and tape that box up next. There we go. Is this going to fit? Yeah, that's going to be perfect. Okay. Okay, I don't want that too messy. I think I'll grab a brush actually. Which is right here. Trimclad, paint and primer, rust paint, excellent bonding, rust coverage, long lasting, blah 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 blah. Can't go wrong with Trimclad. And you know, just to be extra super duper safe, I'm going to use these bolts with nuts, and then we absolutely can't go wrong. So I'll have to drill a slightly larger hole. I suppose while I'm at it, not a bad idea. Okay, while that paint is drying, I'm going to continue working on these furring strips, and maybe I'll get to, 2 more done or 3 more done, or maybe all of them done before the day is over, or before that paint is by the time that paint is dry. So okay. Because I have to put in plus nuts or riv nuts, and I have all that gear here. I'm ready. I've got it figured out. Okay, so I'm going to get busy with that. I'll check in later, hopefully when there are a few of them done. Okay, there's this one. That makes things a whole lot easier. Okay, I always tighten it up a couple of turns. Do a last squeeze. And then you unscrew the mandrel. Yes, the mandrel. Okay, that is done. So I probably won't have consistent spacing of the riv nuts because some of these holes are not the right size. But the main thing is that the furring strips conform to the arc of the ceiling. I'm going to have my final ceiling boards running this way. So you know, I don't want too much variation or waving or anything. So as long as I feel that I've got sufficient coverage, sufficient holding to pull the furring strip up so that it'll bend. And, you know, so here, I'd rather have one here, but these holes aren't the right size, I don't think. So I'm not going to worry about it too much, you know. Oh no, that's going to work. So I'll put one in there. I have one in here. So 1, 2, 3. I'll forget about that one. That's perfect to get that bending there, that curve. Okay. Okay, so I have my furring strip cut. It's, I think, 56 or 57 inches, I forget. And then I drill a 1/4 inch hole. That will take my stainless steel bolt. And then I will use this countersink bit to countersink for that bolt. That should do it. Let's see. Yeah, that's flush. Nice and flush. Now these are 1/4 inch stainless steel. Ideally, you would have a blob of marine adhesive. A blob there, and a blob there. I don't have any marine adhesive, and I have no car today, so I'm using this Stretch Premium Crack-Proof Elastomeric Sealant. The whole point is just to have something to prevent rattling and vibration in the future. So I'll put a blob, I'll put a few blobs on. It's not really, you know, meant as an adhesive. It's just to prevent rattling and etc. So that should do it. Okay, that's threaded in there. Get this one threaded in. I guess I should have left these bolts out. I'll take this one. You can see this conforming to the curve of this strut. Directly to the frame of the van, to the metal. But you know, most of us prefer to have like a wooden frame in here to give it something to go. So see the nice curve? That's how it's supposed to work. Great. Okay, so I'm using the Play-Doh method of locating the holes. Blob of Play-Doh. At first I marked where the riv nuts are with pencil. And then blob of Play-Doh. Blob of Play-Doh. So this is where it's going to go. I have to center this. Okay, and now push up. Push up. Let's see. Okay. Play-Doh, Play-Doh, Play-Doh. Peel it off, and there are my riv nut holes. Not that one. Not that one. Those are my holes for my riv nuts. Perfectly placed. No guesswork. Go in the circle of that middle of that ring. Done. Okay, well, I neglected to record that, but I'm using this. Well, it's a Scotch brand, but it's 3M VBH tape, and this stuff will stick anything. It's the most incredible tape you can imagine, double-sided tape. So I'm gonna go grab my drill bit just to make sure those holes are lined up and they're through, and then I'm gonna put some weight on this, I think, to adhere it. But really, that tape is incredible. I'm not sure there's any need to put weight on it. That is on there, like, so solid. It's incredible. So I'm not even going to go through the tape with those holes. I'm going to leave them as is, and I'll just put my Dicor sealant on here, and we'll leave it at that. This is specially made for RV roofs. and it's a self-leveling product. So there it is with the die core, and I don't know, looks pretty good to me. Not professional, but there's just no way that's going to leak.